Namibia in southern Africa, a vast wilderness with an unforgiving climate. But at the center, a place of hope for animals needing help. 15 years ago, Dave Houghton left Britain behind and traveled to Namibia to join an organization committed to reversing the decline of Africa's most endangered species. With his partner, Carla, Dave works with orphaned or injured animals in the hope that he can return them to the wild.
Hey, come. You know, this is just a small part of a great big thing. And it's working as far as I can see. The next step, okay, getting them out there. We'll see what happens there, but I'm pretty sure that's going to work as well.
Today's the day.
We're following their stories as they fight for survival and begin their journeys back to the wild. Dawn breaks over the Omboroko Mountains in central Namibia. For the inhabitants of the Okanjima Wildlife Reserve, it's a day like any other. This 40,000-acre site now feels like home for a group of orphan cheetahs taking their first steps back to the wild. But the team at the AfriCat Foundation doesn't just rescue cheetahs. And this morning, the lives of another group of animals are about to change forever.
Hey, puppets. Today's the day.
After living at the foundation for more than 5 years, this pack of 4 hunting dogs are about to be released onto the reserve. For Dave and Carla, it's an emotional day.
It's a bittersweet kind of goal here. There's lots of things that can happen out there, and I'm hoping it's not going to happen. They're first going to find their feet before they meet any dangers. They obviously have no idea what's ahead of them. But yes, I'm expecting great things.
Just because we're worried doesn't mean to say they have to stay in captivity. So we have to give them the chance, and their time has come to take that chance.
Spot and his 3 siblings arrived at the foundation as orphaned pups at just 3 weeks of age. Rescued after being buried alive when their parents were shot by farmers, the dogs were hanging on by a thread. For weeks, Dave and Carla fed them through the night to keep them alive. And as the dogs grew, they formed strong bonds with Dave and Carla.
They were a real handful, an unexpected handful. It was hard work, but we really grew to love them, and it's quite scary putting them out there in the wild.
To give the dogs the life they deserve, Dave and Carla now need to break those bonds.
Shall we do it? Let's go. Come, babies. Come on. Come on.
The pack responds to Dave's voice in the same way a domestic dog might respond to its owner.
Well, they seem to be following us, twittering a lot. Come on. Now, don't go back. Come this way. Come. Come on. Come, you guys. Come, Spotty Dog. There we go. Come this way. Come on.
At the entrance, Spot hesitates. Before finally leading his sisters through the gates to freedom. And without further invitation, they're off.
You can at least hang around for 5 minutes. And I've got to keep up with them today. I think that's going to be a problem.
Don't wait for us then.
Dave has decided to shadow the dogs while they adjust to life in the reserve. In the wild, hunting dogs learn the skills needed to make a kill from more senior members of the pack. Spot and his 3 sisters have had no training and will need to learn quickly if they're to succeed in the days ahead.
At least they're still controllable to a certain degree by the whistle.
In the wild, a hunting dog pack can range across an area extending to 1,500 square miles. Dave will have his work cut out keeping up with the pack.
I think I'm going to be running more than anything else most of the day, looking at the way things are going there.
Remember those sandwiches you packed? You're going
I
to be
better-
eating them on the run.
I better eat them now, I think.
Whether the dogs will succeed remains to be seen, but Dave is excited to follow them as they begin their new life in the reserve.
The biggest thing that I hope happens is obviously that these guys become a cohesive hunting pack and they can survive out here with no interference from us. You know, if they can be hunting regularly and surviving fine and getting on with all the other large carnivores in the camp, then that will be our ultimate goal.
Hunting dogs have suffered major persecution at the hands of farmers, and there are now thought to be fewer than 6,000 left on the planet. These 4 are the first to enter the reserve, and Dave's hoping their story will help reverse the decline of this iconic African species.
Hopefully that these guys will become ambassadors for their kind. I mean, they're highly endangered animals, and we need people to see them and to spread the word that they're not bad animals, they're amazing animals. We need the word to get out, you know, we need funding, we need to help stop this species from going extinct. There they go, off into the horizon.
As the dogs head off into the bush, Dave and Carla have no idea just how challenging the next few days are going to be. Not just for the dogs, but for Dave too. He'll head back into the reserve at daybreak to catch up with the pack. But in the meantime, back at base, a young cheetah needs help as he faces his toughest test yet. Cheetah cub Quattro had to undergo major surgery after being hit by a car.
I would say the prognosis is actually quite good for this kid.
And once he recovered, it took time to overcome his fear of the outdoors.
Shame. He's really lonely.
3 weeks ago, Quattro was introduced to feisty siblings, Spitfire and Hurricane. Carla was hoping the 3 would join forces, giving Quattro vital support in his journey back to the wild. But Spitfire and Hurricane had other ideas.
Unfortunately, Spitfire and Hurricane are not reciprocating as well as we'd hoped, although it might still get better. They've got each other, so they're not too keen on making the group any larger.
Until now, the 3 cheetahs have been getting acquainted from either side of the fence. But this morning, all that's about to change.
I'm just mixing up the dry food, the dry cat food, which we mix with water for Quattro. Today is his big day. He's going to go in with Spitfire and Hurricane. Hopefully there's going to be no incidents and everything's going to go really well.
The time has come.
Since Quattro was moved to his new outdoor enclosure, he spent much of his time in a secluded corner.
You hungry, boy? Are you ready for this?
Dave and Carla are hoping that once Spitfire and Hurricane join him, he'll have the confidence to venture further out. But Spitfire can be aggressive, so the introduction needs to be carefully orchestrated.
Hopefully they'll eat, they won't bother each other, and then when they finish eating, they'll realise that they're together and they'll all live happily ever after. That's the plan, of course. Come, Quattro.
Boy.
going to wait for you to back off before I do these guys. Come.
Okay.
Come.
Come on. Nice meaty chunks in there.
In the wild, cheetah coalitions have better success when hunting than solitary cheetahs. By joining Spitfire and Hurricane, Quattro will increase his chances in the reserve.
You can't just sit in the corner.
But first, he needs to gain their acceptance.
We're definitely being watched by Quattro. He's aware that we're there, and I think we're just a bit too close, and he can't do what he wants to do. So I think the only thing that's going to work now is just basically just back off and just let him do it. Let him get on with
it. After watching Dave and Carla leave, Quattro decides to make his move.
Quattro's coming over to him, so we might get a little bit of action here.
Quattro approaches, and immediately Spitfire asserts his dominance. When Quattro signals his submission by lying on his back, Spitfire relents.
I think Spitfire showing Quattro who's boss. Quattro seems to have accepted that. Quattro whacked him a couple of times, very lightly, and now they're all kind of walking off this way and coming into the shade. So Quattro's still sat there by the bowl.
Quattro looks towards the corner of his enclosure where he feels safe, but then moves away towards the siblings.
He's obviously made a conscious decision to leave his safe house and see what the future holds, and follow Spitfire and Hurricane and get a little bit more acquainted with him, which I think is a good omen for the future of these guys. I think they should settle down pretty well. It might take a few days, but I think it's going to be pretty good.
Eventually, Quattro returns to the food bowl, and the three cheetahs enjoy their first meal together. For Quattro, it's the end of a long journey.
Quattro has been through a lot in his very short life, and I've been through quite a bit of it with him. This is an example of why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I'm here in Namibia trying to save cheetahs. It's the end result that counts, and this is going to be a good one.